Okay, so I've got this gray-blue canvas, and I'm just got a little piece of chalk on here. I want to come down, about 8 by 10 canvas, and I just sort of painted a gray-blue color. Doesn't really matter, just some sort of gray color. And I've kind of cut off this corner about 3 fingers and 3 fingers here like this. Kind of cut it off. And again, this is another one of these sideways beach scenes, which is really kind of pretty, because you're just kind of going across here with the waves. Then you've got about 3 fingers up this way, maybe another wave coming like that, okay? So, but the rest is sky, and this is what makes these so neat, is the rest, it becomes sky. So what we need is more of that gray color. So here's some antique white, some ultramarine blue, okay? And maybe a little bit of burnt umber, ultramarine blue, just using some leftover paint. And I want to just come up here and just paint the sky again. This is a second coat of paint, and maybe I'll take a tiny bit of phthalo and add to that. Paint's kind of drying up, but that's all right. Just do a little bit of phthalo. The antique white has a tiny bit of yellow in it, so I like that. Let's see, let's take a little bit of that phthalo. Come on up here like this, and we're just going to do this next coat of paint. Sometimes people say their paint dries out too fast. Make sure that you've covered your canvas with at least one coat of paint. The canvas, the gessos kind of soak all that stuff, right? Now we're going to come on down here in these sort of sweeping motions like this. And we're going to make most of this sky. The idea is to have some areas to rest when you're, so the eye to rest when you're painting something. So here's some more antique white color. There we go. I've got enough paint on here where as I get down toward the bottom, I want it a little bit lighter. That's generally a rule in sky, is the sky gets a little bit lighter when you get down toward the bottom. But now what you don't want to see any lines like this, right? I don't want any clouds. I just want to kind of smudge that edge out so it doesn't say too much, okay? But basically my brush strokes are just all sweeping down here like this, okay? That's what I want to say happened here. And I want these same colors here in my water. So when I come along here like this is the flat part of my water. And I want these same colors to do this. All right. Now I encourage everyone to consider, it's a little bit more blue here, to consider, a little more of that phthalo too. Consider a little bit of yellow with it. Kind of green that up a bit. Do consider doing stuff small first. Everybody wants to do these big 16 by 20. You went to some painting party and they did a big canvas, and now you think it's a step back to do something small. Honestly, it's not. And what you want, add a little brown to that now because the water's getting a little grayer as we go out to sea, a little bit grayer and browner. A little bit more of this blue-green color here, we like that. So we're going to say this is our darker water as we go out to sea here. And this is burnt umber, and we're mixing that to our colors. So this is a pretty monochromatic painting, meaning it's pretty much, one set of colors. It's not too much, and we'll have a little bit of dark right in here, like that, where this might be in shadow, this corner. And everything is all sort of still wet. Okay. Now I'm going to take a little bit of this brown color and say that this is where my wave is, and I'm just zigzagging my brush like this and just saying there's where my waves are coming in. I've got another one coming in. Make sure this is pretty flat. Another one coming in this way, so I'm going to zigzag that like this. Okay. It's coming out here. And then I've got a little bit of brown here. I'm going to say this is my brown beach. And I'm going to say this is coming this way. Okay. So what we're doing is, all we're doing now in the beginning, is we're just laying this out. And let's just take a moment and dry everything. Okay. This is we've laid it out. This is Ginger Cook, and I'd like to invite you to learn about personal art coaching. This is where members of our academy can send me their artwork and it's like having an artist sitting in your studio right over your shoulder telling you how you can improve your painting. How cool is that? So if you want to know more about it, check out our website at gingercooklive.gallery. see where personal art coaching can be a benefit for you and help you improve yourself as an artist and really expand your painting skills in acrylic painting. Thanks. Okay, so we've laid out our water and our sky, and now we're going to start with the sky again, and we're going to do our next layer of sky. And I've got this kind of that antique white, and I'm coming up here at an angle, and I'm just going to suggest using just a few little circles and keeping on down, very thin layers, sort of marine clouds that are coming in like this. Okay, there we go. Not saying too much about it. And then I'm saying that down here, right close to the water, is that foggy stuff that always happens, you know. You can't see. I tell you what, it's if you know, you really can't. You're out at sea and there's that fog comes in, you can't see anything. You know, just marine layer of fog. Okay, and that's that antique white. It's just hard to get with anything else. I really like that color. And I had a little bit of the sky color in it. So there we go. We've got our little clouds coming down here from the top, bringing your eye back down to the ocean. All right, and it's very subtle. These are not big white fluffy clouds. Okay, they're just not. Now, I want to warm it up and take a little bit of kind of red and yellow, or cad red medium, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of antique white. And I want to say that there's a little bit of a beach color. Let's put a little bit of burnt sienna with it. No, where's that? I think I had some right here. There we go. Look, I want a little bit of a beach color here. It's a little bit of sand going this way. Kind of warm this up. Okay, like that. All right, and maybe I will say that some of this might have happened here. It's hard to know, right? We'll just say it did. Okay. So now what? So that's got to be there, and then I'm going to say that this is the sandy beach here. So I'm just going to dop on some little tiny bits of color like that. All right. Now here's a little ultramarine blue, which I'm totally out of now. And I like to use up my leftover paint, just some of these tutorials, because I've got to use the paint anyway. Then I end up needing to put more out, but I want to put out a little bit of ultramarine blue. I don't need much. Here, just a touch. Just a little smudge, as they say. So I want to say this is sort of a cloudy, cloudy day, right? So I want this to be a little bit darker here, a little bit ultramarine blue in the brown. And I want to have this a little bit darker along here like this. Okay, kind of balance out that other spot. Now, what happens? Well, your sky is a reflection of your water reflects often on the sky. So we're going to have some parts of this back ocean that are a bit lighter. Let's put a little ultramarine blue with that. Kind of still a murky color. I'm going to say this is a bit lighter back in here where it's flat. And then where the other wave comes, it's going to be darker. So here, let's bring this up like this. And I'm going to change this with a little bit more light color and say this is the color of the sand going this way. All about layers. Okay, it's all playing about layers. And let's bring this out like that. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to say this is all back here like this. The water is oftentimes just a sort of a dark blue-gray or dark brown. So a little titanium white and ultramarine blue. And I'm going to add a bit of yellow to that. And a little bit of antique white to that. And I'm making kind of the sky color now. And I want to pull some of that color here back in here. There we go. This is some of our sky color. And layer that back on top of this. Okay, everybody's good with that? We kind of layer it. It looks kind of wet, doesn't it? Now let's pull this brush really flat. Look what I'm doing and kind of zigzagging it back. Here's layer number 3. And then if I take a little bit of this antique white color and use just the edge of my brush like this. I can drop it here like that, drop that. I kind of take the brush and hold it upright and then lean it over, and that'll drop that little wavy stuff. There we go, and then just keep going with that. See it wants to drop that little bit of foam. We'll do that back here too. We're going to do that same thing here too. We're going to drop some foam back behind this one. Okay, and maybe say there's another wave out here we're not talking about. Okay, so that's our. Now what happened here? Well, there probably ought to be a darker wave. Okay, we're almost done. Oceans can be really fun and simple to do and are very complicated. Generally speaking, when a wave is rising up, it's dark. And when the water's flat, it's some sort of sky color. So we're going to make this dark here where the wave is rising up. And that's just burnt umber. And I'm going to say that's this wave. And we're going to say there's another one maybe rising up here a little bit here. This wasn't a very big one. I remember as a kid learning this poem, and it basically went like two little waves came rushing to the shore. One died with a yawn, the other with a roar. It's kind of stuff you learn when your parents send you to a very expensive summer camp. You come home with nonsense like that. That being said, however, I'm going to just suggest a wave back here, and then one that's not quite so dark. How's that? We might want a wave back here, but nothing so dark. So, there, okay, they kind of go flatter too. All right, so that's our ocean back that way. And so we've got some waves that are yawning more than they're roaring in this picture, which is fine. That takes a little bit more to do a roaring wave, but let's just say this one is breaking this way, and we're going to just pull the brush like that and have it break over. See if I can get it to do that. Break over this way. Okay, now what's happened is I got to dry it because that's too wet and it's kind of bleeding through. So let's take a minute and dry it. Hi, this is Ginger Cook. If you're enjoying this video on YouTube, then perhaps you might want to experience what it would be like to have me look at your painting and make some fabulous comments or even some suggestions. Maybe some of the videos that we put up are not totally beginner on YouTube, and you might feel like they're a little out of your depth. Or maybe you just like some advice on how you could make what you've painted, which you think is great, even better. And how you get that to happen and how I can see your artwork is to take advantage of our personal art coaching for a month. Try us for a month on our website, gingercooklive.gallery, where we take personal art coaching to the next level with video art coaching. And you can hear more about it on our website. I can make sure I've got the purple off my brush. And let's put some of this blue back underneath it. There we go. I didn't really want that purple there. Okay. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of titanium white now. And I want this to be a little bit lighter, so I'm going to flatten it out on my brush. And I'm going to pull the brush. Here's the top of this wave. I'm going to pull it a little bit just like that. I'm going to pull it just in the center there, okay? And the same thing here. I'm going to suggest that there might be, this is the only part I want to use the titanium on, right there in the center. Come back to the antique white and just take most of the paint off the brush and hold the brush real flat. And do this and let there be a little bit of a shine here. See that? Where you it's just kind of dry brush it on like that. Okay. The same thing here. Let's just kind of do that with a little yellow oxide maybe here. I want this to be a little bit lighter right here, coming up on the beach. A little bit of a reddish brown color. There you go. Again, it's all about layers, Okay, Okay, so there we go. That's kind of nice. So now what? Well, we just need to put a few little bits of, we need to just kind of cap some of these waves here on top. This would be this you'd hardly see this at all, where this wave is maybe coming over like that. Okay, and then this wave you might see a little bit right here, but okay, say that this wave did that. Anything back here, the farther you're back, you're just barely seeing it, right? If you're having any waves do anything, they're not doing much. They're just way back there doing next to nothing. The farther they are away, the flatter they are. And I want to make sure that I've got this coming this way, out that way. And let's see, where are we with this kind of green color? We'll paste it, pull it that way. And the same thing here, I want this flat. I'll hold the brush flat and just kind of scribble it back and forth. And then barely touch this, just barely touch it. So it's there, and I might even put some brown over it, do the same thing, barely touch it. Hold the brush really flat and just sort of suggest that wave action here. Okay, like this. Wave action, a little bit of wave action right here. A little bit darker under here. And pretty much that's a simple wave. I mean, that really is a simple water scene. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot. We didn't add any boats. We want to make sure that the water is level here. That's one of the secrets, is that did you keep the water pretty level? I think we could level it out even more a little bit. Maybe more with this blue color and white. Okay, let's level out our water just a bit here. Let's make that our water line. And I love T-squares because you can do that with it. All right, so there, that helped a bit. Now let's take this dark right here and just sort of soften that line right there. There we go. In other words, sometimes, I know it's kind of crazy, but sometimes a painting doesn't have to say that much to be effective. What can you say? The least few little brush strokes and make a little ocean painting. Just doesn't have to say that much, and you still have, some nice, you have a nice ocean painting. I might suggest that there's a little bit of wave action right here, but I'm barely going to see it. Okay? I mean, it's there. For sure, it's there, right? We're saying there it is. And if you don't think you've got it bright enough, you can come along here like this and tap in a little bit more. Now, kind of our center of interest is kind of right in this area right here. Now, I could come back. For instance, if I didn't think my clouds were bright enough, this is where I might take my antique white and come back and do another layer of clouds, because it's dried now. I could come back and do another layer of clouds. I might put a little more yellow in it. A little yellow oxide with it, I think. I'd like that better. There we go. So I'm going to just add a bit more color to the clouds now, keeping the brush very light and flat. Because acrylics dry darker, so if my clouds disappeared, that's all right. I don't want them to say too much. I want them to be here, but just a marine layer of whatever. Okay, just our marine layer of kind of fog. So you've got obviously something happened in the sky, but you're not saying that much, right? And the same thing here. Do we need to put any of that in there, the clouds in there a little bit like that? Okay. Don't overdo it. Keep it simple. I remember had an ancient teacher tell me one time, she seemed really old to me. I think I was 18 or 19. She was 26. But, it's all perspective, isn't it, right? And she said, ask yourself this question. what can I take away and not ruin the effect, right? What can I take away and not ruin the effect? And I want that same kind of yellow color on the ocean waves too, that same kind of antique white, which is really pretty. Okay, like that. There we go, you guys. I think that's fun. Now, let me just show you a little trick. Let me show you what it would look like in a frame. And I think you'd be surprised that there's, I know that doesn't look like there's that much going on in this picture. And again, I'm going to put mist up our fog a bit more. It doesn't look like much, but I think when you see it in a frame, you're going to see that it doesn't have to say that much to be an interesting picture. And we're just going to sign this right here. Okay? So, John, do me a favor and grab me that picture frame. And we're going to show everybody what that looks like in a frame. Red slash through the name. Oh, no, one of you, please don't throw a boat in this or a seagull. It's got some real class right now. I just want to unclass it, throw in a boat, right? All right, so here's our little picture frame. Here's the top. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this inside. Just kind of tuck that down under here. Write these cool frames. You can get these at Jerry's online. Zong. Here, you come around under here like this. You come around here like this. Ready? All right, so we turn it over the unveiling. There we are. Isn't that nice? I'm telling you, it doesn't have to say that much. You don't need a lighthouse. You don't need a seagull. You really don't need much of anything. And I think that could be, again, a really nice painting that you might want to put in a bathroom. Here's an example of one that's, I don't know if we've done this or if this is coming up. Probably, I don't know. I was going to show you this other one, but I don't know what order we're going to show it to, so I can't. So I had another one I was going to show you, but you don't get to see it. So it's going to be another one that's going to come up on you. Either been on YouTube. It has been on YouTube. Well, I card it. Otherwise, I don't want to show it to you until it comes up. Sorry. So there we go. I know John thinks that's hysterical, but I just don't know, right? But there we have it, you guys. Breezy day at the ocean. Breezy day, don't you think so? Breezy at the ocean, but of course that won't be the title of the tutorial, but that's the title of the painting, Breezy Day at the Ocean, right? And we don't need any shovels, children, or flags, because then we're going to change the whole thing. Try to keep it simple.
No kites?
Probably no kites either. Hot air balloons or kites. Or steamships or cruise ships or...
hey, wait a minute.
Or dead birds. Bye. Hey, subscribe to the channel, you guys, please.